Bracketology, presented by Dave Campbell's Texas Football, breaking down the 2023 Texas High School Football Playoff brackets. I'm Greg Tepper. This is the granddaddy of them all, Class 6A Division I, the biggest schools across the state of Texas. And look, I'm going to level with you. I think for about an entire year, we've been waiting for one team from here and one team from here to meet right here. Perhaps you've heard of them. We'll get to them in a moment. I am here to tell you that I do not think it's a foregone conclusion, specifically because of the paths that both of them will have to walk to get to AT&T Stadium. I think 6A Division I is more wide open than it's been in past years, despite the fact that we've had the same matchup in 4 of the last 5 years. Let's go to Region 1, first of all. You go up here to Region 1, DFW, West Texas, El Paso is what's going on here. This feels a little bit wide open, but I will tell you, I think there's a couple teams that really pique my interest. One of them is North Crowley. Up here at the top, that's a good draw for them. I think they got a winnable first-round game against Keller before they'll take on either Odessa Permian or El Paso Pebble Hills. By the way, remember, Permian has to go to El Paso for that game. Down here, Prosper, the reigning regional champion, is certainly a team to keep an eye on. I do like this Lake Highlands team, too. I think they're very dangerous. Down here, the bottom half of the bracket, this feels like the more wide-open part of the bracket. Up here, looks like North Crowley and Prosper, maybe Lake Highlands as a spoiler. Down here, could be anybody, right? Allen-Louisville's a really interesting first-round matchup. Two teams that have really high ceilings and also haven't been super consistent. Arlington-Martin lurks at the bottom of this bracket. And then keep an eye on a team like El Paso-Montwood or Midland Legacy. The winner of that game, I think, is going to have an opportunity to make a run here. Very interesting in Region 1, maybe more interesting than it's been in past years. We go to Region 2 now. Region 2, we're going to have the first team that we're going to talk about as one of those feels like inevitable at AT&T Stadium. It's the Duncanville Panthers, formerly the #1 team in the state. They lose to DeSoto, but they won't have to deal with DeSoto. Now they're in the Division I bracket. And I think that they get a pretty darn good draw up at the top. First of all, I think they're going to be the favorite out of this top part. Then they're going to take on a team like the Woodlands or Klein Collins, maybe Cy Ranch. I think a dangerous team down there in the Houston area. But I think that Duncanville feels like the favorite, again, on the top half of this bracket. The bottom half is where things get really interesting. Remember, Spring Westfield was the team that gave Duncanville a real scare last year, their toughest test, but the defending state champs were able to get past it. Can they make a run as well? I think that this first-round match between Klein Cain and Bridgeland is really fascinating as well. And then if you're looking for a sleeper, Rockwall's got a really high octane offense. They are dangerous. Waxahachie is dangerous. That first-round matchup with a surging Hewitt Midway team is particularly interesting. Let's go over to Region 3. On the other side of the bracket, you've got the other team that kind of feels inevitable, and it is the Galena Park North Shore Mustangs. But here's the interesting thing. Region 3, this is the year that all the big boys piled into Division I. All of them. Specifically, they're going to have to deal with Deer Park, not a pushover. That's a 9-1 Deer Park team in the first round. Shadow Creek is dangerous. Then, right here, the Katy Tigers are in the Division I bracket after being in Division II last year. We could have a Thanksgiving matchup between Galena Park North Shore and Katy. That could be very interesting. Bottom half of the bracket, I think what's interesting is that North Shore beat Atascocita, which dropped Atascocita down to this part of the bracket, but I think they might actually have a little bit of the better draw down here. This is the cleaner side of the region. I think Atascocita is probably the favorite here. This first-round matchup between Pearland and Dickinson is box office stuff. Keep it on this first-round matchup, too. Katy Tompkins, again, very high variance. When they play well, they're really tough to beat. But Fort Bend Ridgepoint, a very tough first-round matchup. I'm very interested in Houston Lamar as well. One of the best Houston ISD teams we've seen in quite some time. Keep an eye on that. North Shore has to be your favorite, though. To Region 4 we go. And again, the intrigue is who piled into the Division I bracket. Specifically, the reigning state runner-up in 6A Division II, Vandegrift, as the Vipers are pushed up to the Division I bracket, and a first-round matchup with Lake Travis. Maybe the best game in the state in the bi-district round. Fascinating stuff there. The San Antonio area, I think there's more power in the Division II bracket, which we'll get to. But when you take a look at the Austin area powers here, Vandegrift and Lake Travis, and oh yeah, Westlake, a team that is no stranger to making deep runs as well. That's an interesting first round matchup with Round Rock. As far as the San Antonio teams are concerned, I really like this Taft team. I also like the winner of the San Antonio Johnson and New Braunfels game. That's a fascinating matchup, and San Antonio Johnson, of course, has Ty Hawkins, one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the state. In the end, though, Austin is probably where the power nexus lies, and the winner of this game, Vandegrift and Lake Travis, probably looks like the favorite to play a Westlake Antonio Reagan in the regional final. But remember, Austin has just so dominated San Antonio of late. So when you take a look overall at the bracket in 6A Division I, again, up here, maybe North Crowley, maybe a team like Midland Legacy, maybe a team like Prosper, right? Down here, it's Duncanville's to lose. I think we all agree with that. North Shore feels like the favorite up here, but certainly a treacherous Region 3 that they'll have to navigate through, including potentially another rematch with Atascocita. And then down here, Austin has dominated Region 4. Feels like there's 3 teams there in Vandegrift, Lake Travis, and Austin Westlake that are the favorites in Region 4. It's going to be fascinating stuff in the largest classification. Duncanville, North Shore feels like the most likely matchup, but far from a sure thing. No matter what happens, we'll have you covered every step of the way at TexasFootball.com.